Good afternoon, this is Rachelle Cruz. I'm a published author, TV host, producer, and the National Ambassador for the Golden Heart Awards. And you are listening to Radyo Kapwa on CKUT 90.3 FM, where all Filipinos are Filipino enough.
Mabuhay! You know who it is now. This is Radyo Kapwa on CKUT 90.3 FM. So this is Veronica speaking. I'm joined here by my co-host Desiree Ruiz, our sound engineers Fanny, Laura, Martin is also here observing us, and obviously shout out to all of our marketing team working behind the scenes, promoting us, other people who helps us here and there. We are a big team, and I just wanted to highlight that. So, for today's broadcasting, we have Rachelle Cruz. She's a published Christian author, TV host, segment producer, and host. She recently published her modern fantasy novel, The Golden Heart Locket, Fire and Prophecy, last November. She was also a TV host for a number of news programming under the flagship global network ABS-CBN, MYX Global, and TFC's Balitang America. Rachel was also content creator and producer for her own show, The It List on FTV. She graduated with a Bachelor's of Journalism and majored in TV, radio, broadcasting from Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly known as Ryerson University, and completed a one-year leadership program with HarvardManage Mentor that focused on writing, marketing, and digital intelligence. She also ventured into her health and wellness biz in Arbonne as an entrepreneur. She believes that to pursue your dreams and go for your goals, you need optimal health. You know, health is wealth. And as part of our community initiatives, Rachel is the national ambassador for the Golden Balangay Awards, now in its sixth year, and a board director for the Golden Balangay Foundation. And lastly, in 2018, she started the campaign Filipinas Speak Out, hashtag Filipinas Speak Out, which aims to raise awareness on sexual violence on women. So very important initiatives, very cool community initiatives, very cool, we're a radio show right now and then having a lot of experience in radio. So I hope that Rachel, welcome. You have a good time with us here at Radyo Kapwa.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, team. Thank you, Kapwa Collective, for having me today on a Sunday morning. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a nice mouthful representation of who you are, but is there any things that you want us to add or something that you want us to start the conversation right now?
Well, oh my God, it is a mouthful. It's a lot. But you know what, guys?
It's great.
It's. I was just reading actually about how you guys started and reading about the team, the package that was sent to me. It's really great because one of the reasons why I stayed in, let's just say, ethnic media, let's call it, not mainstream media, ABS-CBN, FTV, all that, is because there's so many stories to be told in our community. So many people, I've been with, I started as a news reporter, then I went to lifestyle news reporting with ABS-CBN. But what I found was that people asked me, like, so why don't you, go to mainstream, like other media outlets in Toronto, right? Because I'm here in Toronto. And sabi ko, it's very enticing, but we have so many stories in our community that won't be covered in the mainstream. We have, and so many talents. And that's what I found because growing up, I was born in the Philippines, but I pretty much grew up here, grade school, high school, university. So it's interesting because I wasn't really involved in the Filipino community until I started to be part of the media part of it. Like really going out there, talking to people, getting to know their stories. And all of those things really kind of introduced my interest in our history, in our community, in the language, because I kind of lost it. And, my Tagalog is not the best. But at one point I was even asked to hey, can you, report on this? And then translate it in Tagalog for TV Patrol. I said, no, I'll do the English part. Because it's like, iba rin yung type of professional language when you do it on TV, right? So, but yeah, what I really appreciate about my time during the time I was reporting for ABS-CBN is you really get to meet so many amazing talented Filipinos. We are not homogenous. We're not just one thing. And everyone has their own mission or purpose. And I also believe that, okay, I get asked, can you support this? Can you support that? I try. Pero we all know too that we can't tackle everything. We can't go to every battle. You choose. What is your part in that community and where can you serve? So that's my time. And I mean, as you guys read, I graduated with TV broadcasting. So I really enjoyed the aspect then of working with a team. Like you guys have a team here, a great big team. Ako naman, like because our headquarters was in California, I had to build a team. And then they kind of, in a way, as a field producer and reporter, they reported to me in a sense. But it's important again that group work, the teamwork, the unity, right? To make something, to produce something that's great, like stories. And storytelling is very powerful. So I'm really glad to be part of this, and I appreciate you guys doing this because it's true. There's a lot of stories out there, and a lot of people need to be heard. There's a lot of things that people have to say. And it's also nice to have a discussion because we may not agree on everything, but that's how people learn, get people's perspectives, right?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that.
Ang dami ko na sinabi, sorry.
What's that?
Ang dami ko nasabi.
But syempre, kailangan. That's actually very good. I just wanted to point out that storytelling is the oldest form of education. At tayong mga Pilipino, mahilig tayong magkwentuhan, magsalita, and traditionally speaking, bago pa magkaroon ng papel at lapis, you see, papel, lapis, galing yan sa mga Kastila, we like to talk. Like we are an oral history based community, and that doon mo maipapabigay buhay ang mga karanasan ng ating mga ninuno, di ba? See, ako rin tinanong nila ako kung pwede na akong mag-Tagalog, so I'm practicing Tagalog. It's definitely a different type of media in terms of the media from the Philippines and then the media here and the media here who are Filipino Canadians. So thank you for actually pointing that out. And as you say earlier, Tuna, here in Radyo Kapwa, we like to really highlight our diversity, and our differences is actually our strength. As you said, we're not homogeneous, we're not monolith, and we are in all different streams of this fabric of the society of Canada. And so thank you for pointing that out. There is nothing wrong with being a nurse. It's a very noble job. But at the same time, tayong mga Pilipino, pag buong Pilipino sa Canada nagwelga, kahit isang araw lang, hindi ka makakakain ng steak mo, hindi mo makakain yung avocado mo, asa na ang bacon mo. I think it's important for other people to know that we are in all fabric of the society, that if one day we strike, you can feel the absence of Filipino workers and Filipino touches that you didn't even know. Yung lobster mo, sino nag-deliver niyan, di ba? So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I also want to add, earlier you were saying that you got into the broadcasting and you loved highlighting the stories of Filipinos, letting them tell their stories, show their talents. But, at the same time, we're doing this for you today too, because, you have a lot of, you're very accomplished, right? You've done broadcasting, but you're an author of fiction. So I'm just curious about you released your book last November. Was being an author, was that always something that was in your mind, or how did that whole process come about of releasing a fiction book?
Right. Thanks, Fanny, for that question. So let me segue. So 7 years guy in TV broadcasting, and then the pandemic happened, right? And I said, I am not that comfortable yet, because especially in the early stages, to go out and shoot and figure that out. We were filing some stories through Zoom, doing Zoom interviews just like this. But I said, you know what? I have been growing spiritually in my own faith and discovering where I'm growing. And I was praying, sabi ko, Lord, I want to write a book this time because I do love to write, but I don't want to write for the sake of para kasi, author na ako, whatever. I wanted to write something that would be impactful and meaningful, where I can share my message or even share my spiritual growth, let's just say. that was, to be honestly, I've been praying for months, that then one day the idea just got downloaded in my head. And I had to write on a piece of paper, like literally a piece of paper somewhere on my desk, just so that I don't forget, like, sort of the skeletal structure of the story. Okay. Then after that, I started to then build it up and put in, like, my kitchen table was full of post-its and moving things around. I've never written a book before, but I knew I've always wanted to, and I just had that. When I was writing it, I was seeing scenes. So, guys, for those of you who don't know, a Golden Heart Locket is really a modern fantasy literature that is based on, it's for people who love a strong female lead character. It's for people who love escapism, adventure, and fantasy. And I think that's part of it because, again, I was stuck inside, like, so I want to escape, maybe. But that's part of it, as some psychological thing. And then it's also for people who it's for people who love, like, a heroine, escapism, for people who love faith, spiritual, that growth, that journey. And it's about family, essentially. And again, bringing it back to Filipinos, we love our families. We're very family oriented. So a lot of my siguro upbringing and thoughts, ideas was kind of put into that envelope of, like, say, fiction, but a lot of it, there's truth in there. And when I wrote it, it took 2 years because I have a full-time job, I'm doing other stuff, but I wanted to do it. And then I learned so much about an industry that I never touched on before. Publishing is different from, like, say, TV broadcasting and stuff like that. So that's I'm glad it feels like a baby that was, like, out to the world. But I know that there's still so much to learn, and I actually have a book launch that I'm planning this summer, August 11th, just so that people can, people who's read it, they can get a chance to share their, I guess, feedback without giving away too much of the plot line, and just a way to converse, a lot more in-depth Q's and A's. Because sometimes I've been getting media interviews too, which is great, and I'm thankful for that. But it doesn't get into the nitty gritty of, like, why are you writing this and who is it for? And essentially, even though I am a Filipino Canadian, it's for really anyone who loves those themes, right?
Thank you, and congrats. Hi everyone, this is Desiree speaking. Congrats, Rachel, on writing your book and just everything that you've done. Like, what a beautiful bio and what a beautiful journey you've been on. And I've noticed so many themes like this. You were mentioning earlier about storytelling and the importance of storytelling. And as Vero had mentioned, storytelling is the most ancient way of learning, right? And how your journey, you said it, you're like, I could have went to different media outlets, but no, like, the importance of sharing our stories, right? Our stories, which have been, I'm just going to add a visual, kind of put in a box or not given the space to be shared, right? And then you intentionally or unintentionally, subconsciously, unconsciously, you're like, no, these stories need to be shared. So I just think that that's so beautiful. I'm noticing this pattern of, like, you creating these outlets, these beautiful outlets that have come up on your journey, allowing these stories, your stories, ancestor stories, this energy to be shared through your book. Again, that act of being creative and having, you're like, oh, pandemic, no, post-its, oh, there's something that needs to come out. And you created that space for yourself to share this story, right? And then interviewing others to be able to share the story, because these stories, as you mentioned several times, need to come out. It's so important that they come out because we were never, and especially I'm going to throw, like, Filipinos, Asians, it's like, it's that visible minority, like, just stay down, be polite, let other people go, don't be selfish, don't take up that space. So I just think it's so beautiful. Your journey has really, like, given yourself and others this opportunity to take up space by sharing their stories and freaking writing the book. And you sharing the fact that you've written a book creates that representation for other Filipinos listening, like, hey, she's Filipino, she wrote the book. You know what I mean? I think that's so powerful. So I just wanted to thank you for doing you and being you and putting yourself out there and holding space for others to be themselves as well. So there's one question that we ask everyone on Radio Kapwa. Well, there's two questions, and I'm going to ask you the first, and maybe you've related. And again, as you mentioned, we are not a monolith and we're not homogenous, and everyone answers this question differently. But what we've noticed in our community is there is this theme, and the volume is louder in others. And maybe you can share with your experience being on television as well with all of the interviews. But we noticed this underlying theme of unworthiness within our kapwa, within our community, and it stems from different areas for all of us. The volume is very, very different, but we'd like to know if there was ever a time that you felt not Filipino enough, or were told that you weren't Filipino enough. Again, that if you're on this, and the last interview we did, she was like, absolutely not, and we're like, that's great. But like, it's just, again, the importance of, because a lot of us feel it is basically what we're trying to pull out. A lot of us feel it, so we like to let people know that they're not alone in feeling it, right? And so yes, if you can share if you've ever felt it or have been told, or maybe you've interviewed somebody that interview might still resonate in your mind. We'd love to hear about that
You
experience.
know, I knew that you were going to ask this question because it's part of that, but I was thinking about it and I said, where is that coming from? That question, right? Like, who's judging that, and why do we have to subscribe to it, or why do we have to answer it? Like, why I'm not Filipino enough? But I'm gonna, I think I thought about it. I'm thinking there was one time, or maybe a couple of times, but there's one really that stood out for me. I was outside. I think it was a concert, and I was interviewing streeters, Filipino Canadians, to get their feedback on what you guys think of this, blah 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 blah. Tapos a lady with a group of her friends, because with Balitang America, it's still in English. And then she screamed. I was in the middle of an interview, and she screamed and she said, "Mag-Tagalog ka." It's almost as if, like, I'm not Filipino enough. I'm not worthy to be in that space, that someone else who is very fluent in Tagalog should be the one doing that interview because I represent or was holding the flagship of ABS-CBN. And it was a very distracting, so I had to like redo that interview quickly, but it's very disrespectful. And sometimes I do have also moments where, because I'm lighter skinned, or because I can't really speak Tagalog that well, I do get light comments that is kind of like maybe shrouded in jokes, like, oh, you're not really Filipino or whatever. So, parang in a way, I don't know, maybe I've just internalized it. I don't necessarily clap back at it. I'd be like, well, I'm Filipino, was born in Philippines, raised here. Both my parents Filipino. I'm sure there's like, my grandparents have Spanish in them, but a lot of Filipinos are also mixed. So I just say it like that and I move on. But those have been my experiences. But it does bring to light how we Filipinos try to think about our identity and our place in the world, because we are everywhere. And we have similar things, but we're also we're not a cookie cutter. So, how are we being defined? And what are the things that we want to say, and how we want to show up in the world? So those things come to light. And often that too, what I love when I talk to people like you guys, when I've been interviewing amazing Filipinos, is that there's a lot more assertion of people saying, this is my space, this is what I do, or I haven't figured out, but I'm trying to explore it. And I think there is that resurgence of interest in our identity, exploring it, discussing. There's so many of us doing that now. So that's cool. It wasn't like that before, but I think it's cool. And maybe, like I said, everyone has their own pockets, everyone has their own purpose. But I think it's still a great sort of progression, I'd say. And that's part of the reason why, when they approached me to be the ambassador for the Golden Heart Awards, I want to segue there, is because they said, this is our first national body that will recognize outstanding Filipinos in different areas: sports, media, business, community service. Like, kasi ang daming talent, and we need to recognize these people, give them a platform to say something, network, get people of the younger generation to see, like, there's so much stuff happening there. And then now, with the launch of the National Scholarship for Filipino Canadians, that's us giving back to the future. Sustainability, yes, but like if your organization will just like die out, what then? So what?
Thank you for segueing. Can you just maybe do a quick description of the awards and the scholarship program, please?
And what is Balangay? I mean, we know, but for our listeners,
Okay, so like sige, explain ko guys. Golden Balangay Awards, it's in the 6th year. It's really an organization that started about 6 years ago to recognize outstanding Filipino Canadians. That's how it started. When they asked me that time, never happened before. I had no idea what they're talking about, but I believed in it. Why? Because they said they wanted to recognize outstanding Filipino Canadians. I said, perfect. I've met so many of them already in my years as a reporter. Let's do this. No idea what it would look like, but okay. And that is because I trusted them to execute, right? That trust. The people you work with, you gotta trust them. And so now it evolved. Your vision is like, yes, we want to recognize outstanding Filipino Canadians across the nation. It evolved to like, now how can we give back? That's when the whole national scholarships for Filipino Canadians is now being figured out. Actually, we're in the early stages with Kabangka. So it's a partnership between Golden Balangay and Kabangka. We're putting something together and we're spearheading this program to give funding for Filipino Canadians. I mean, growing up, I had some scholarships, but it was never from a Filipino Canadian organization. So why not give back?
yeah. So that is like I also wanted to put a segue on. We had like an amazing time with Tito Ronnie and Tita Claire when they visited Montreal a few weeks back. And one thing that we talked about is like what you said, Rachel. Ang daming pwedeng ipagbigay yabang, yun ang sinasabi ko. Ang yaman ng ating kababayan dito sa Canada. Ang dami nating pwedeng ipagbigay yabang ng kayamanan at ibigay halaga actually, 'di ba? Kasi nga there's so many ways of being Filipino and we're like just in different places na this award is very important to recognize really the excellence accomplishment of our kapwa across the provinces, 'di ba? And I know that they're trying to get more like there's not much Filipino population here in Montreal, Quebec compared to other provinces. And I think one of the goals for Centre Kapwa is to really take up spaces and let them know that Pilipino kami, andito kami sa Quebec, dito kami sa Montreal, on parle français aussi, and this is what you get. We may not speak Tagalog, but it doesn't mean that you can use that to weaponize who we are. So I thank you for bringing that up and continue standing by it. We're going to our last question, but before we go to that, I know, pero alam mo naman ako, we talked about being Filipino and like, thank you for also pointing that out that, magtagalog ka and it came from another kapwa. All I can think about is that, again, yung tita, like, I just wish them healing. Kasi at some point, like, you try to weaponize one of our diverse culture to kind of invalidate another kapwa. And then at the end of the day, and like I'm just speaking with my own experience. Pinanganak din ako sa Pilipinas. We moved here when we were younger. And from what I notice now is that hindi naman mandatory na mag-Tagalog class in higher education. And if you go to Manila, puro sila Taglish. So kung gusto mo magtagalogan tayo, it needs to be mandatory and you need to give them. I mean, your background is journalism and I know that my inspiration to keep on continuing speaking just like yung Tagalog na walang hiram sa ibang mga salita ng mga ating dayuhan. And it's very tough. It's very, very tough. And for them to say magtagalog ka, then can you do it too? Like, kumbaga parang clapback like minsan nakakainis kasi na they use that to be like, oh, hindi ka Pilipino kasi hindi ka marunong magtagalog. Eh, bakit ako marunong magtagalog? Dalawang parents ko is Bisaya, di ba?
Right. I mean, there's so many dialects in the Philippines, not just
Exactly. So that's a clutch,
I also just wanted to add, Rachel, I love how when I asked you that question, your first response was, but who even decides? Where did that come from? And that's what we're getting. Like, so we asked the question to help folks not feel alone and to know, because again, this is they're like, oh, I don't feel Filipino because I don't speak the language. I wasn't born here. Like, so there's all of these these stories, again, going back to storytelling, floating around in our minds, which creates this unworthiness that no one is talking about because we feel shame, right? It's all internalized. But when we ask these questions, we're like, no, it's true. Somebody did say, oh, yeah, my Filipino is not that great. So we're getting them out, right? Going back to like letting these things release from our body. So that's why we ask the question. But I love how you like shut it down right away, because that's accurate, right? You're like, but who even decides who's enough?
Yeah.
Is the question, you know? So I love how that was your answer, and I wanted to say it, but I was like looking at the time, and that's what I'm inviting anyone that's listening, if ever those feelings come up, because they will, and like I said, in different volumes, in different waves, you know, feel the emotion, let it come out, but then just be like, who the hell, who decides who's enough and not enough? And we had an amazing person, Kat Daka, on our show, like at the very, very beginning. And I mean, she was like, when you sit with it long enough, again, it was that one person that told our ancestors that they weren't enough, right? And that's still inside. So when you're like, no, it's wrong, and or you understand where it comes from, you challenge it, you move on, right? You know, you're like, no, I'm enough. But then you have to kind of like there's that process to go through. So yay, I love how you were like, where does that even come from? I think that's what you said. You're like, where does it even come from? And it's like, no feelings of unworthiness. No, I am enough. Forget what one person said to make my family feel like they weren't enough once upon a time. So
Obviously, it's a great question because it generates that thinking and discussion. But I think that it's also whatever that question is coming from. I think it's para siyang in a way to divide. It's a division. It's a weapon of division, right? And so for any listeners here feeling like asking themselves this, or if they're still like in that stage, like just find your tribe. I think find people who have the same values as you. Work with them because there's strength in community. There's, when we gather together, if of one mind and one purpose, I feel like there's a lot can be accomplished. Half the time it's a division. That's why things can't move forward. So that's what I would suggest to the younger generation in terms of like if they're still trying to discover themselves in that sense, like just find your tribe.
Yeah, I sorry to jump in and say, like, like you said that magic word right there, community, and like it made me, and find your tribe. That's something that's been a strong belief of mine ever since I moved to Montreal from Toronto too, right? Like I feel I found my tribe in Centre Kapwa, but just speaking of that same vibe right now, another question we always ask our guests is, what does the word Kapwa mean to you?
I feel like I answered in a way, but
Yeah.
Papua is to me isn't just because you came from a same physical geographical space. To me, it's to be honest, I don't really use that term on in my everyday settings, okay? But I think it's finding that commonality with people and supporting them in that cause in your own terms, because everyone has limitations too, limited time, resources, everything. What can you do for your couple in that moment, in that time or space? I think that's what it is, and accepting also the diversity of thought. You could be couple with someone and not necessarily have the same ideas as them, or that the level of respect and what can you support in that sense, what conversations can happen. I don't know, sometimes I get asked to support this and I may not necessarily be in that tribe, but what can I do in my own capacity? So that's kapwa, I think.
Beautiful, beautifully said. If France is here, I can already assume that France would say that in a lot of African diaspora, I mean, there's like hundreds of languages in the African continent alone, but I know they also use the concept of Ubuntu, which is basically like you're my own. And I mentioned this already from past broadcasting and even in my own podcast that like the idea of nationality, race, and religion is pretty much a modern concept. If you look back to our language earlier, sabi mo, di ba, yung sa pananalita natin, dun mo malalaman yung karanasan ng ating mga ninuno. Like you can really find your identity with the way we speak. And our ancestors just by default are kind to someone else. And that someone else can be living or non-living thing, di ba nga? Kasi even our pronouns, like yung pader tsaka ako, magkapareho kami ng pronouns, di ba? And it just goes to show how much of a respect our ancestors have to like your fellow human being. Kasi sometimes you can translate kapwa as your fellow someone, di ba? But it could be it's much bigger than that. Like in the universe, we're just part of the universe, and we just share this universe with someone else. And you perfectly encapsulated that. And I thank you again for trying to help other communities, even though you're not part of community. But what can I do in my own way? How can I help another kapwa? So thanks for doing that. So we have reached, I mean, we've been reaching our time, but there's just so much nice conversations that we've had with you, Rachel. Where can we find you? For those who's listening to us, your book, your work, where can we find you?
I'm pretty active on Facebook and Instagram. So rachelcruz.co on IG. And if you're interested in joining my book launch in Toronto, it's August 11th, venue to be determined. If you want to read it, it's available on Amazon, Vision Press, and Indigo Online. So, yeah. And, if you're in Toronto, find me. I'm in the area. Yeah. So that's how you can connect. And yeah, again, probably best is Instagram.
So there you go, dear listeners who's still listening to us here on Radyo Kapwa at CKUT 90.3 FM. We've had very good time with Rachel. Please do support her. All of the notes where you can find her will be part of our descriptions. And so, Rachel, is there anything else that you want to add for our dear listeners?
I just want to say thanks, guys. Like, I really appreciate this time with you and continue to do your great work. And, yeah, parang bitin nga, to be honest, but I hope that from this conversation, a lot of people have learned something new or picked up something and encouraged them, which is an important thing. So thank you so much for your great work and have a great day.
Do connect to our Kapwa Rachel. This is Veronica speaking, and mabuhay to everyone.
You know, maybe I do like you. I mean, shit. I think I'm in love. I'm scared, but I really think we should be together. For real. You know who the fuck it is. I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. Napanaginip na naman kita kagabi. Iniisip mga nakaw natin lagi na sandali. Bakit lagi ka nalang naiiyak? Diretsahan sa'kin dapat ng kaba. Totohanin na lang natin o kaya ililihi para ba mas masaya? I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. Di kita bahasahin kung pinaka para sa'kin. Araw-araw na lang kitang iniisip. Dahilan kung ba't ang sarap panaginip. Lagi-lagi kang kayakap. Ayaw ko nang bumitaw. Sa kislap ng iyong mata para akong maliligyan. I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. Di kailangan na mangarap pagkasama ikaw. Kahit palaging madilim mukha mo ay lumilitaw. Kinumutan at lahat pero ako'y giniginaw. Nananahimik lang pero parang gusto kong sumigaw. I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. I don't wanna quit it, I don't wanna go. I be so faded, we fuck on the low. Our bodies connect till we tied up our souls. You do it and say cause you know I'm the boss. Tinatanong ko kung kanino ka lang. Sagot mo parati sa'yo lang iba. Lulong ka na sa'kin at parang iba. Nobody better, you know I'm the bomb. I'm faded, I'm faded. I don't wanna let you go. I'm faded, I don't wanna quit it. I don't wanna let you go.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Marvin Reyes. I am a youth leader and community organizer, here bringing you important news back home in the Philippines. The article is from ABS-CBN News with the title, Escudero Takes Senate Helm After Zubiri Resignation. Senators on Monday elected Senator Francis Ortiz Escudero as its new Senate President in a surprise leadership change on the heels of several controversial investigations being conducted by the chamber. Escudero replaced Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, who had led the Senate since 2022. In an emotional speech, Zubiri said he was quitting as Senate President and announced his move to being an independent senator. I failed to follow instructions from the powers that be. As simple as that, Zubiri said as of his political demise. During Monday's plenary session, senators confirmed that Escudero would be the new Senate President and wished him luck as their new leader. To the new leadership, Senate President Cheese Escudero, "I wish you and your team the best," Senator Sonny Angara said. Rumors of Senate coup had been recurring since last year, supposedly stemming from the discontentment on the way Suburi was leading the chamber. This was worsened by the tension brought by the People's Initiative, with the House of Representatives criticizing the Senate's headline stance against changing the charter. The article was written by Sherry Ann Torres and published on May 20, 2024. Thank you so much for listening. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Once again, this is John Marvin Reyes, delivering you Philippine news from abroad.
Princess Taya, yeah, Princess Taya, Princess Taya, malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate, bumilip ka sa'kin huwag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala, malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate, bumilip ka sa'kin huwag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala. Princess Taya, ang aking pangalan sa mga hakbang, tila ba ang daming nakaharang, nag-aaral po ako, wag niyo akong husgahan, hindi ka hukom at wala tayo sa hukuman. Ang dami ng husga, kahit na hindi ko naman kilala, kapag ka sumasampa sa entablado, tila ba pilit ang pagtingala, kapi-kapilaan ang mga salita, ang tingin sa'kin ay pariwara, wala naman akong maling nakikita sa aking mga ginawa. Ito ang nakahiligan, iba sa mga kaedaran na kinamulatan, ngayon ay pinagkakakitaan, isa sa gabay para sa kinabukasan, sa aking pag-aaral di naging sagabal. Alam ko ano ang dapat na unahin, nag-arasal muna bago magtanggal, yan ang turo ng magulang sa akin, kaya ako'y tuloy-tuloy lang, di ko dinadamdam ang mga komento, mabait ako kundi nga lang naging rapper, malabang ako nasa kumbento, kaso ito ang naging direksyon ng mga paang nakaside sa konkreto. Ako ay naniniwalang balang araw magkakaroon din ako ng sariling konsyerto, hindi masama ang mangarap, malapit ko na mahanap, basta ako ay magsisikap, hanggang sa tuluyang mayakap ko ang tagumpay, husaya ng walang kumpay, marami mang pekeng nakapalibot, ako bang magpapakatunay, malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate, bumilip ka sa'kin wag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala, malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate, bumilip ka sa'kin wag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala. Princess Taya, yeah, Princess Taya, Princess Taya. Pangalawang berso, isinulat ko sa papel na kapiraso, hanggang sa mabuo mga letra ang aking tinahina, para bang may taso, kakapanibago, Diyos ko, sa aking inihanda, daming nakisalo, mga di naman imbitado, puro negatibo pa, aking salitang inabot, sana'y mangilabot naman kayo sa inyong mga sinasabi, sa edad kong 13, tila ba ang pamantayan ay hindi balanse, bala kayo dyan. Oras ko sa inyo di naaksayahin, pagtutuunan ko na lang ng pansin, mga bagay na dapat kong gawin, baka sa
sakaling may marating, ang tagumpay ay mapatikim. Pagka nahinog, may mapipitas na rin ang mga bunga sa aming pananim. Mula sa ilalim, sana ay sumikat pagdating ng araw, matupad ang lahat ng mga hiniling sa mga dumaan na bulalakaw. Pahalagahan ko kapag ka aking napasa kamay, pero mananatili pa rin sa lupa ang aking mga paa saan mamapalagay. Marami man ang nangihina, never ako na manghihina. Positibo pa rin ang pananaw kahit na pangit ang aking nakikita. Malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate. Bumilib ka sa'kin huwag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala. Malande, tingin sa'kin ng iba, mga pare, makinig ka sa'kin mga ate. Bumilib ka sa'kin huwag niyo akong husgahan, hindi niyo pa ako kilala.
No 3-2, no 3-2, yeah, yeah, yeah. Eyes kiss and shine bright like sweet gold, and the calm stay presently sweet. But I came when I hate you, and you know I'm the one. No 3-2, no 3-2. Spend it all up, then I recoup. That's just how it be. Ooh. Upgrade, then I reboot. And you know I'm the one. No 3-2, no 3-2. Spend it all up, then I recoup. That's just how it be. Ooh. Upgrade, then I reboot. And you know I'm the one. No 3-2. I just wanna vibe with you. Can I spend some time with you? Dive into the tide with you. Love your heart so wild too.
No 3-2 like magic, no reduce, no practice. No take twos, I pay dues, and fake moves, I'm past it. I've been had the juice, don't need proof, I with you. I'm feeling alive and a ride with you, put 2 and 2 when I hide with you. Ain't no 3-2, flip it around like Jordan in this game too. Cause round this way they know the name, I take my throne and make a lane. Let me vibe with you and I'ma take you to the top today. 3-5 in your DNA, but 5 for 5 to elevate. I'm on another wave, flow for days and they marvel in the featherweight. Cause I'll be damned if I ain't the great. Level up one, settle and done. Give me my crown and I'm making them run at the top of the game. And I already win and I'm top of the class, so they know I'm the one.
No 3-2. Spend it all up, then I recoup. That's just how it be. Ooh. Upgrade, then I reboot. Yeah, you know I'm the one. No 3-2, no 3-2. Spend it all up, then I recoup. That's just how it be. Ooh. Upgrade, then I reboot. Yeah, you know I'm the one. No 3-2. I just wanna vibe with you. Can I spend some time with you? Dive into the tide with you. Love your heart so wild too. No 3-2.
Panty droppers lead. Slippy on the beat.
Okay, sarap isipin sana na makapiling kang muli. Ngunit ito'y isang laro lang at puso ko'y nahati. Uli lang sana tayo nagmadali. Para sana, para sana. Kabilis naman ng mga pangyayari na ikaw ang aking tibok ng damdamin at ng aking nakuhang ika'y kausapin. Pakiramdam ko'y kaya kitang mahalin. Wala na sanang magpapapigil. Umaasa ako na ika'y makapiling. Di ko man makuha ang iyong pagtingin. Sa perpektong mundo, sana ikaw ay akin. Sarap isipin sana na
Simula, magkatropa lang at simpleng kabiruan. Ang trip mo ay trip ko rin, at ang trip ko ay trip mo rin. Di ba dyan nga tayo nagkakasunduan, at hindi rin nagtagal may napagkasunduan. Magsasama kahit na ilang diboto, tara takasan ng mundo, piloto. Lilipad utak ko kapag kausap ka. Ang oras ay tumatakbo pero ang bagal pagkasama ka. Tila para bang tinadhana sa isang panaginip pinagpala. Yun pala, kala ko nung una pansamantagal. Yun pala, kalaunan pansamantala lang. Ang tambalan natin pawan di maawat. Tayo na sana kundi lang naging natat, diba?
Ako ay masaya kapag ko'y kausap. Pakiramdam ko, ako ay nasa lapay.
Ikaw ang nagpapasaya hanggat sa pagsapit ng umaga. Ikaw at wala nang iba, hinahanap-hanap kita.
Nagbago ang lahat, parang may kulang at di sapat.
Pero kahit ganon, para sa akin ikaw ang karapat-dapat. Kapag ikaw ay nakikita, ako pa rin ang kikilig. Pagsapit ng umaga, ikaw pa rin ang isip-isipin sa piling kang maling. Ngunit ito'y isang laro lang. Puso ko'y nahati, hindi lang sana tayo nang madali. Yun ang pag-asana, tayo sana. Sarap isipin sana na makapiling kang muling. Ngunit ito'y isang laro. Puso ko'y nahati, hindi lang sana tayo nang madali. Sana.
Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, ayoko pa, ayoko pa. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, ayoko pa, ayoko pa. Di ka ba napapagod na magparamdam? Bababain mo ang abats mo at gutom lang yan. Di ba sinabi ko naman na huwag ka na munang umasa? Simplihan mo lang muna. O di ka masyadong seryoso, easy ka lang muna. Yeah, you know you gotta take it slow. No need to worry, just go with the flow. Stay on the low, easy ka lamang enjoy yung show. Masyado maaga, ayoko na muna masyadong madrama. Ayoko na drama, ayoko na drama. I want a good talk and a sweet smile, a quick walk, not a whole mile. A sunblock in the sunshine, a sunblock in the sunshine. You know I won't do it yet, kaya wag ka na muna makulit. I just ain't ready, don't make me upset. No, no, not yet. You ain't so good if that's 100%. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, ayoko pa, ayoko pa. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, ayoko pa, ayoko pa. I know that you don't want to wait in vain for my love. I know that you don't want to wait in vain for my love. Come on, boy, better be ready when time young. When you hop over like bass drum, know it come under your tongue. Suffocated by your own lung. I only just wanna be fair, just wanna be clear. I know when you enter the spell, just heads up my day. Sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, ayoko pa, ayoko pa. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ayoko pa, na ayoko pa.
En retourne à Radio Kapwa et mon nom est Fanny Christo. Vous écoutez à 90.3 FM et nous sommes le mercredi 22 mai 2024. C'est après la pause musicale et avant ça, we had John Marvin Reyes who told us Anong balita sa Pilipinas. And before that, our amazing host interviewed Rachelle Cruz, a media powerhouse from Toronto. And now, if you're a regular listener, you know what it means when you hear my voice. And if you're new to the show, it means that I'll be delivering to you the community announcements so you can know what's going on locally in our beautiful city of Montreal. So grab something to write with or opening your schedule app to mark your calendars in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. First off, this Friday, May 24, is the start of a weekly event. Every Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. via Zoom, the Black Community Resource Center is hosting the Rhythms of Thought Spoken Word Poetry for Beginners Workshop Series. You can unleash your voice and explore the magic of spoken word poetry. Dive into a world where your personal story meets the power of poetry. Guided by experts, you'll turn your ideas into captivating spoken word poetry, celebrating your uniqueness along the way. Don't miss out on this fun and insightful journey. To sign up, you can visit their Instagram page at BCRMMTL. And then the following day is an event from our own very people, the Centre Kapwa. Saturday, May 25, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Centre Kapwa is hosting our monthly Kapwa Walk at Chinatown for the Asian Heritage Month. You know the drill. Visit our Instagram page at Centre Kapwa for more details. Personally, I really recommend this because this is actually how I got involved in Centre Kapwa and Radio Kapwa. You'll meet some amazing people and tour an amazing neighborhood. Anyway, on to the next event, same day, May 25, Saturday, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Studio 3 Tables, is Clay Play, a QT BIPOC poetry exploration sesh for ages 30 and over. You will have the opportunity to paint your creation with underglaze, and they will fire it with transparent glaze for you. You will be contacted once your piece is ready to pick up. For more info, you can visit their Instagram pages at Studio 3 Tables and RAXERAMIX. The next day, Sunday, May 26, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Park Jari, join the Pan-Asian Collective, also known as PAC, on their first picnic of the summer. Come hang out with other Asian-identifying folks in Montreal. It's a low-pressure potluck vibe, so please bring food, beverage, a water bottle, or a blanket if you can. For more details, you can visit their Instagram page at PACMTL. And that same day, May 26th, from 1 to 5 p.m. at Centre Saint-Pierre, dive into a world with compelling images and inspiring discussions. Reserve your seat now and be part of a vital conversation. Have you ever experienced colorism in your life? Use the hashtag RootsOfOppressionADG to join this conversation. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments to enrich the discussion. Together, let's explore the often forgotten stories that shape our world today. Your presence is essential to making this experience as enriching as possible. Stay connected with Atur Duguria for more exciting content and not to be missed events. And then fast forward a few days from then, May 29, the Refugee Center invites refugees, asylum seekers, and community members with their families to participate in the free movie night. This event is a chance for families to come together and take a break from life's challenges. The film presented will be Les Indestructibles, presented in Spanish, English, and French. To sign up for this movie night, please go to their Instagram page, the Refugee Center, and fill out the form in their bio. And then looking forward a bit farther into the future, June 3, Monday from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Shift Concordia, one of our dear allies. Shift Concordia is hosting a very special event featuring Kay Ching Tom to launch their evaluation report and open up their space to discuss community, solidarity, and connectedness in social change. Now, they have limited spots for this event and registration is open. For more info and details on this event and to sign up, you can visit their Instagram page at Shift Concordia. And finally, our last announcement, Hoodstock is looking for cycling companions to start the program Tout à Vélo Montréal Nord. The implementation of this program is part of the activities of the project carrier on active and collective movements of the Sustainable and Active Mobility Committee of the Social Development Plan de Montréal Nord of the Table de Quartier de Montréal Nord. For more info, you can visit their Instagram page at Hoodstock_MTL Nord. Et c'est tout. Il y a beaucoup d'événements et samedi, je vais à Kapwa Walk in Chinatown. So, if you go, say hi. Anyway, it's been great. I wish I could stay here another hour or so, but we gotta respect the time slots, of course. So, Catch the Radyo Kapwa team again next Wednesday, same time from 2 to 3 p.m. on the same dial, 90.3 FM CKUT. And I wish all our listeners an amazing week. Peace out.
Liberation for one is liberation for us all. Tuloy ang laban.